Welcome back. Here we go with track number 2. This one came from you, Grant. This is Frame It with Will Johnson. But I understand there's more than just a track.
It
Tell us
sure
about it.
is. So it kind of hit me. I mean, I'm not sure about you all, but when we get a new theme, it's so exciting to just kind of like live in the where do I go with this theme. And this one was a fun one, as I mentioned earlier. And this inspiration came to me as, in Minnesota, we've had some snow. It's actually been a little bit less snow. It's snowing heavily today, finally. But as I was scraping snow off my car one day, early in the process of figuring out the songs, I have some record label stickers on the back of my car. And as I'm scraping it, I was like, Keeled Scales, one of my favorite labels, has a snake skin as its logo. Boom. Super simple. There we go. But wait, which Keeled Scales song to pick? Because there are so many. And we've actually been featuring artists on our show since episode 1 with Karima Walker. Man, that's crazy to think about from the beginning. Will Johnson was also on the episode 1, but as his South San Gabriel. But anyway, like this took me down a hole of, I love this label. I've been enjoying everything they do. They have a very, like, I'll say, diverse lineup of different artists. I'd like to take the moment to mention a couple of them here and give you a little bit of sound clip. Tony Presley, who runs the label, gave us permission to do so. And that's kind of the first for us to be able to kind of have permission to interwove, similar to what Yassi does on Bandsplain, where they can throw a little segment of a song. So we've mentioned Karima Walker on episode 1. We've had Good Looks on twice, episode 11 and episode 25. So you've heard those. Highly recommend you go get them. But we'd like to kind of highlight a few others as well that are some of my favorites on the Keeled Scales label. Katie Kirby, who's from Spicewood, Texas. We've got Lunar Vacation, who are from Atlanta. They got a brand new album, or actually about a year old, I think, but they're touring right now, and a new documentary out for them.
What's it gotta do? What's it gotta do with me? What's it gotta do? What's it gotta do with me? Kick back again, sit back.
Buck Meek, who you might recognize from Big Thief, who's from Wimberley, Texas.
We'll go down to Logan Town, look up Ruby Bates. Don't call the police, but they won't have none. 2 tons of turtle doves from out of state. Just tell her I sent you for the discount rate.
We got Jordan Mosier, who, man, his Long Night album is one of my favorites. He's from the Austin area as well.
Love is gonna test you. Oh, love is gonna test you. And if you ever wanna see forest with the trees, you gotta know.
You got Sun June. Man, I've been trying to find a way to get Sun June into an episode for so long. One of my favorite bands.
16 riders on a storm, I guess. Surefire way to get back. Be honest, be cool, forget it. It ain't nothing but I wish it was.
Tennessee is one of my favorites. I think they're from Chicago, so a little bit outside of the Texas circle on the Keeled Scales label. And And then the last one I'll bring, although there's a ton more to mention, one of my other favorites is a band called Why Bonnie. So there's a little bit of a mix of all these different things. So I hope something in those samples got you hooked to say, I'm going to go check that artist out. Go to keeledscales.com and you can kind of see their inspiration. You know, lots of record labels have musicians that want to take a part in the record label side of things. And so Keeled Scales was founded by two friends and musicians in Austin. And I think I always think about what attracts a musician to a label and what criteria maybe a label might have, but man, they pull in stuff that is consistently high quality, and just I have not turned down or looked away from anything they release. They have a lot more bands that I still haven't jumped into entirely. A lot of them are regularly touring. I think Good Looks is touring, Buck Meek's touring, Lunar Vacation is starting their kind of big tour all around the States and around the world. So I highly recommend you check out keeledscales.com. And check them out. And thanks to Tony for letting us kind of feature those. All the way, I forgot about the shirt the whole time. Yeah, I'm wearing my Keeled Scales shirt. Lots of great merchandise, lots of great things to jump onto. And throw a Keeled Scales sticker on the back of your car. So yeah, snake, obviously. But I looked up what Keeled Scales are, and what it is on, and the logo kind of has it too, where the scales have a ridge down the middle of it. So there's like multiple types of snake scales. Smooth scales or keeled scales. And so, obviously a little bit of snake anatomy is always a good thing on the Year of the Snake episode. That's probably where I'll leave it, because me and snakes don't usually see eye to eye or blink at each other like Saturn might say. So I'm happy to keep them at a distance and have a logo that's a rad logo. I thought Will Johnson had drawn that logo because he's a prolific artist as well. He didn't. The guy, Seth Wayland, drew the logo like as he had the band name or the label name. So the logo's been there, but I think the simplicity of it is pretty cool. Great record label to just kind of, recognize and live within. So then Will Johnson. So why Will Johnson is because this album, or this EP, this Sleuth Cuts EP that this is off of, was Sleuth Full Cuts EP, I should say, came out mid-November last year. And it was a solace that I needed in a really hard time. And the lyrics just kind of floored me where I needed to be floored. The let's abandon all our luxuries, man, I needed that from Will. Will always delivers on that. The album the EP was recorded at Ramble Creek, where he's done a lot of his stuff with a lot of the same kind of family of musicians that he pulls in. Like Lindsay from Little Mazarn, and just these expert musicians that is the best I could say. They really brought this sound to life, and so I had to pick this song because Will Johnson is my favorite musician, and it fit. When I think Keeled Scales, Will Johnson was my introduction into that label, and then it has opened up a whole new world of different musicians that are really vastly different than what Will Johnson kind of style is. But they all live in this kind of Keeled Scales family and this Keeled Scales environment to me that is happy to be a part of, and from a fan perspective. So happy to highlight that today. I know we've had Will featured on many times, but it felt like it was the right time to bring him on back in with this newer song that he dropped with Frame It. So Brett, we'll throw it back to you on kind of where Keeled Scales lands for you, or where this Will Johnson song lands for you.
Well, I do love the art and learning about what a keeled scale is, and that it's a snake skin scale formation reference. That's really super cool. Also cool to get some highlights on some of the labels' other bands. Love that. I think you're so cool, Grant, and I definitely feel like because I'm your brother, I get rubbed off in the right way about being cooler because you're in my world and you do stuff like this. On the Year of the Snake front, I couldn't actually find Genevieve's birthday, so I couldn't do this with her. But I could find Will Johnson's birthday, and he's a 1971 metal pig. So not a snake, but also you picked Will Johnson, who is of Keeled Scales. So who knows if any of the Keeled Scales crew are actually snakes. But speaking of metal pigs, Sean, let's hear from you on Frame It.
I'm a metal pig. It's true. Well, first of all, I loved the label sampler grant. It's fun to have the permission from Tony and the label, and then for you to do a little sample. When I listen to Bandsplain and they throw in those little snippets, I think that's so slick, and it's something I've always wanted to do. So high five to you for being the first one to actually pull that off and get permission to do it that way. So I love that. And I also was cracking up. It sounds like a movie scene where, you're scraping the window and then all of a sudden it dawns on you. It's like, I'm imagining that the sticker is covered by the snow and then you scrape it off and you have this realization. So those two things just crack me up. In terms of Will, the way he constructs his songs are I don't know. It's very easy to listen to. I feel like I'm fumbling around because I like it in a way I think that's kind of hard to explain. I like just sitting down and being still and listening to someone that's as capable as Will tell stories. When we saw him together in Atlanta a couple years ago, about half the songs that he played, or maybe more, maybe like 2/3 of the songs he played were songs that I hadn't heard before, because he's got a really big catalog, and a lot of my familiarity with it was Funland and then early solo, and not so much in the late solo, even though he keeps producing. But I found myself really connected, even though he's, it's just one man and one guitar on stage, and a lot of times he's even got his eyes closed or he's not even looking, seemingly. But there's something about the way he plays that I think is really easy to connect to. So this was one of those songs. And, the pedal steel and the slide guitar, I think this was a nice compliment in this song. And so there's a lot to like here. And kind of brand new track, 2024 November. I mean, it's only like 8 weeks old or something, maybe less than. That also is, it's nice to bring, brand new tracks to the forefront.
Yeah, even though we had to, you get to stamp your Stone Soup for Contemporary Future Descendants bingo card that Grant brings up Will Johnson again, but it's a new Will Johnson song, and that's rad. I think the other thing I'll mention real quick is, the lyrics. Us three are going through a Meditations for Mortals 4-week thing with Oliver Burkeman's book and podcast or audiobook. And the one that came up this week that was kind of a big one for all of us talked about Swedish death cleaning, as if you're cleaning your house for, you don't want if you die that day, you don't want somebody else to have to clean your house. It kind of resonated with me where he's talking about, is it too much to ask to abandon our luxuries at last? Like, let's get rid of the stuff we don't need and let's take it easy. Mm-hmm. The theme of that is absolutely, I think, what I need in this whole, there seems like a swirling amount of darkness in the world. If you look for it, there's also a whole lot of real like solace and peace that you can find when you kind of remove yourself from it. And this song puts me in that space, as well as sonically transports me there, as great songs do. And this falls into those great Will Johnson songs that he's been able to do consistently. So thank you, Mr. Metal Pig Snake. I loved it.
Awesome. Metal Pig Snake. Here we go. This is Frame It by Will Johnson off of the November 2024 Sleuthed Full Cuts EP.